It's Erin, and today we'll be doing a push-pull workout followed by some HIIT. The focus of today's workout is going to be upper chest and upper back. It's important to develop these two areas because a lot of times we spend time focusing on making the shoulders large and beautiful and full and totally neglect this area. And upper chest and upper back tie everything together aesthetically. It can help your waist look smaller. Also, when we diet down, there's a tendency to lose size in the upper body first, making us look gaunt. And by building upper chest especially, you don't look as hollow when you're lean. And then for HIIT, we'll be doing some dead mill sprints, 15 minutes of pretty tough work, burns calories, burns fat, and you're done. So let's get started. The first superset is a dumbbell supine row, followed by a high incline chest press. Now with this row, I've got the bench at about a 60-degree angle, and I'm using a neutral grip. I don't like the underhand grip for this because the dumbbells tend to bump the side of the bench, and also the underhand or close grip can work the biceps a little bit too much. So focus is on the upper lats, rhomboids, and you'll notice I'm pulling straight up and down. So the dumbbells are going at a 90-degree angle, which creates quite a high angle. So a high angle is going to train higher up on the muscles. My chest is up, my shoulder blades are rotated back and down, which helps eliminate the use of traps and helps limit the use of shoulders in the exercise. And with any pulling exercise, think about from your hands to your elbows as simply being the anchor to the weight. So you're just going to pull purely through the elbows. I'm using the same weight for the high incline press, and doing 4 sets of 10 here with about 45 seconds to a minute in between supersets. And with this, feet wider than shoulder width apart, feet firmly on the ground. My back is flat. I'm keeping my elbows out, you'll notice. You're not able to go as heavy this way, but you're really able to hit higher up on the chest, keeping the dumbbells higher than you normally would for a bench press. And so anywhere the dumbbells go, the elbows should be underneath the dumbbell. I'm using a little bit of a mid-rep pause, and then also thinking about using the dumbbells or pressing them in almost a triangle. So you're gonna bring them out and then push them in at the top just slightly. And that's gonna help really accentuate the upper center chest, which is absolutely beautiful when it's developed. And it's kind of hard to hit, especially with free weights. So with this, just a little bit of time under tension and a little bit of pressing up and in, and you will hit that upper chest nicely. The next superset is a TBar row, followed by a standing landmine chest press. With a TBar row, I like to use 25-pound plates, so it does look like a ton of weight, but it's not really. I use the smaller plates because it gives you a greater range of motion. So I'm able to really pinch those shoulder blades back at the top. And if you'll notice, this angle is very similar to the supine row that we just did, but the pull is different. You've got a little bit of an arc here, and you're gonna pull to low down on the ribs. So when you're pulling a little bit lower, the grip is a little bit more central. You're gonna hit a little bit more mid to upper back. So if you're looking to build width in your back, depth, and definition in the back, so if you really want to create those ripples in the back, try this exercise. And 4 sets of 10, give a little mid-rep pause, and don't use momentum. So for this, I strip off 2 of those 25-pound plates. This is one of those great functional exercises. It's an awesome superset because you're on the same machine, so you don't have to worry about someone taking your equipment. Feet shoulder width apart, and if you notice, I'm leaning into the bar just slightly. And by leaning into the bar, it's creating a little bit more of an angle, so it's hitting that upper chest. So if you try these, really experiment with standing more upright and leaning a little bit more forward, keeping the core tight. You'll notice this is also great for abs, so you have to keep them tight, you have to really stabilize with them. And keep the elbows under the bar and just press up and forward. And you'll see that this hits upper chest, mid chest, and a little bit of your front delts. So Make sure you don't use momentum. Make sure you just push through the entire range of motion. I like to do quite a few reps there, probably 12 to 15 reps. On to the next superset. So this is gonna be a machine, a hammer strength high row. And I've made a little bit of adjustments to this exercise. So with the seat, I've pushed it all the way down, so the pull is a lot higher. I'm keeping my elbows out rather than pulling them to my sides. And you'll notice by keeping them out, you're gonna get a little bit more rear delt, you're gonna get top of the lat involved here, and you're gonna be able to squeeze those shoulder blades together at the back. So this is a little bit higher rep, and you'll notice too that I'm pushing my chest into the chest pad and I'm sort of leaning into it. So the upper body is at a bit of an angle. I'm not sitting completely upright, and this creates another better angle to hit the upper lats, hit those rhomboids, really get that width across the upper back. And doing higher rep here, so 12 to 15 reps, trying not to use momentum and trying to rotate those shoulder blades back and down the whole time. And then off to cable flies. I really love the cable machine because you can do a variety of different exercises on it. And for this, I'm gonna do a staggered stance. I'm gonna almost imagine that I'm hugging a barrel. So with the flies, you don't want your arms ever fully extended, and you don't want them really super bent. So when they're super bent, the exercise becomes a lot easier. Keeping that slight bend in the elbows is gonna help you really focus on the upper chest and across the top. So upper outer chest too is gonna be hit with this exercise. And I try to not dump the elbows. I try to keep the elbows, everything kind of on the same plane. You find if you bring your elbows down, you're gonna hit more biceps. So the goal is to keep everything in one spot, keep those elbows nice and high. Off to the next superset. This is a single arm lat pull down. But again, we're working with angles here. So you notice that each exercise, yes, is a traditional exercise, but we're gonna tweak the angles here because we're specifically working on the upper back and the upper chest. So I'm leaning into the cable machine and I'm sitting at a 45-degree angle. Most of us are right-handed or left-handed. I know there are a few lucky who are ambidextrous, but I'm not one of them. So my left side is my non-dominant side. I start with the left side, let that dictate the number of reps that I do on the right side. Also, when you're doing single arm or unilateral exercises, think about pulling or pushing evenly on both sides. So really just let the weaker side dictate the number of reps that you do on the stronger side. And I'm keeping my arm, my upper arm, in a parallel plane. So by doing that, keeping my elbow a little bit further back and down, I'm gonna hit that upper lat, which is exactly what we're trying to go for. So keep those shoulder blades rotated down. You can see as I start to fatigue, pulling a little bit with those traps. So you can avoid doing that by rotating the shoulder blades back and down. And with chest and back, with chest especially, I'll go a little bit lighter, so there's about 10 pounds on each side. And I'm gonna train mid to decline chest flies. And I like to do that because I don't like to neglect any part of each muscle group. So I wanna make sure I'm training everything, even if it is lighter weight. It's just nice because I think it helps the muscles flow together. So here, same idea as with the other fly. Keep your arms like, just imagine yourself hugging a barrel, and keep your wrists kind of soft also. And just push down and in. You'll hit a little bit of biceps here, but should be mostly chest. And super high reps. I think I did 15 to 18 reps per, and 3 sets of this last one. On to HIIT. So these are deadmill sprints. The treadmill is off. This is 6 sprints at 10 seconds per sprint. And I like to do a 2 to 3 second run in just to get that belt going. These are super heavy belts. And the goal here is not to make the belt move as fast as possible. It's to get the knees up, to keep running on your toes, get that turnover. Think about the treadmill as being hot lava. So you want to touch that treadmill as little as possible. So quick feet, back flat, get in that drive phase position. So the drive phase in the sprint is what we call the acceleration phase. It's that first part of the sprint. It's when you're most explosive, and this is what it's going to work. It might not look tough, but it is pretty brutal. So the goal for this is after the sprint, make sure you get your heart rate measured, grab your watch, put your hand to your neck, count for 6 seconds. Your heart rate should be at 80% of your max, which is 220 minus age. Then after you're done with the sprint, give yourself some time to recover, between 2 to 5 minutes, however much time it takes you to get to 60% of your maximum heart rate. So again, just measure your pulse for 6 seconds, multiply that by 10, and that's going to give you your heart rate. So we did 6 sprints here right after the upper body workout, and that was probably 18 to 20 minutes total of work. And as you may or may not know, this is going to boost your metabolism for 24 to 48 hours afterwards. So it's a great workout. Push-pull followed by HIIT. The whole workout should take about an hour and 15 minutes if you're keeping an eye on recovery in between supersets. Ideally, it should be between 45 seconds to a minute. This is going to allow for recovery, but it's going to still keep your heart rate high enough to where you're burning calories and burning fat. For the HIIT, try to do it after upper body training days or as a completely separate workout. This is going to help you with fat burning. If you have any comments or questions, please write them below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Until next time, train hard, y'all.